Cellmate Witness, a secret forced into silence. The shouting echoed through San Quentin's concrete halls. "He's a rat!" someone screamed, and that one word, rat, was enough to turn the air into ice. Guards rushed in, but they were already too late. Blood was spreading fast across the cold floor near Cell Block C, and in the middle of it lay a man everyone in the unit knew as Rico. His face was pale, his breathing weak. Around him, inmates stared with that same cold silence, the kind that says everything without a single word. No one needed to ask what happened. Everyone knew Rico had talked. Just a week earlier, he'd been a protected witness in a high-profile gang murder case in Los Angeles. He had testified against members of the Aryan Brotherhood, one of the most dangerous white supremacist gangs inside California's prisons. The state promised him safety. "You'll be fine. You'll go to a secure unit," the officers had told him. But something went wrong. Somehow, Rico ended up in San Quentin, not in protective custody, but in general population, surrounded by men who had brothers, cousins, and friends in the same gang he testified against. That night, as guards called for backup and medics, whispers spread from cell to cell like wildfire. "That's the snitch from LA. He's done for." But here's the chilling part. Rico wasn't dead. Not yet. As they carried him out on the stretcher, he tried to speak. One officer leaned close, and Rico's lips moved faintly. "Tell them. I warned them. I told the truth." Then, just as quickly, he passed out. 3 weeks earlier, Rico wasn't an inmate at all. He was sitting in a courtroom, hands shaking, eyes darting between the judge and the men who once called him brother. He had been part of a prison drug operation while serving time for robbery. But when one of those deals led to a brutal killing inside the yard, Rico became the key witness. He saw everything: the stabbing, the orders, even who cleaned the weapon. Detectives offered him a deal: testify and we'll protect you. For a man like Rico, that was a ticket to freedom, or so he thought. In court, he told the truth. He named names. The gang leaders glared at him through bulletproof glass, their eyes promising revenge. The jury believed him, and 3 men got life without parole. Rico thought it was over. But prison politics don't forget. When he was transferred back to state custody, a paperwork error sent him not to a safe witness facility, but straight into San Quentin, one of the most violent prisons in America. It didn't take long before word spread. A new guy from LA, in for robbery, but he looked scared. And in prison, fear is blood in the water. Rico tried to stay quiet, to blend in. He kept his head down, didn't talk much, and followed every rule. But one night, during dinner, someone slipped a folded piece of paper into his food tray. He opened it with trembling hands.
We know he didn't eat another bite. From that moment, every step he took inside those gray walls felt like walking through a minefield. He could feel eyes on him, in the showers, the yard, even during chapel. He filed for a transfer, begged the guard for help, but his requests got lost. Rico's cellmate, a tall man with tattoos crawling up his neck, didn't say much. But one night, as the lights went out, he whispered, "They're coming for you, man. You better pray." Rico didn't sleep that night. The next morning, during cell check, the guards found a message carved into his bunk with a piece of metal. It said, "Silence keeps you alive." By the end of the week, the whispers got louder, the looks got longer, and the line between silence and death got thinner every day. And then, one stormy evening, the alarms blared through San Quentin. Rico's cell door had been opened during movement hours, a mistake that shouldn't have happened. 3 men entered before anyone noticed. The lights flickered once, twice, then went dark. When they came back on, Rico was on the floor. But the question that haunted everyone afterward wasn't who attacked him. It was how they knew where he was. Was it really a paperwork error? Or had someone inside the system made sure the witness wouldn't live long enough to speak again? The sirens echoed through the prison yard as guards scrambled to lock down every unit. Red lights flashed over the concrete walls of San Quentin like a scene from a war zone. Rico was alive, but barely. He had deep cuts on his side, his shirt soaked in blood, and eyes that seemed lost somewhere between fear and regret. The next morning, the news broke across local California media. Witness and gang murder case attacked inside San Quentin. The headlines spread quickly, sparking outrage. How did a protected witness end up surrounded by the very people he testified against? Law enforcement agencies were silent, but inside the prison, everyone already knew the answer. Someone on the inside wanted Rico silenced. While Rico lay in the prison infirmary, handcuffed to a bed, investigators came to question him. One of them, a state investigator named Mark Daniels, leaned forward and asked quietly, "Who did this to you, Rico? Do you know their names?" Rico didn't look up. His voice came out as a whisper. "It doesn't matter. You can't protect me." He turned his head toward the wall, where the faint shadow of a camera flickered above him. They're watching, even here. Days passed, and Rico's condition improved. The attack didn't kill him, but it destroyed what little hope he had left. Every sound outside his hospital door made him flinch. Every guard that walked by felt like another potential threat. Even the nurses spoke to him with quiet voices, like they were afraid too. What the outside world didn't know was that San Quentin wasn't built for witness protection. It's one of America's oldest and most violent prisons. Gangs control the yards, the phones, even the guards who smuggle messages in and out. And when a man like Rico snitches on one of their leaders, there's no hiding. Some inmates have connections that reach all the way into county jails, courthouses, and even the system meant to protect witnesses. Money buys loyalty. Loyalty buys silence. And silence, well, silence keeps everyone alive. But for Rico, silence wasn't safety anymore. It was punishment. The same system that promised to protect him was now forcing him to disappear in plain sight.
One night, just a few weeks after the attack, Rico received a visit from a lawyer sent by the state. She told him they were working on his transfer. He nodded slowly but didn't believe it. He'd already learned that in San Quentin, transfers could vanish just as easily as paperwork. When she left, Rico stared at the window bars, whispering to himself, "They'll never let me out of here alive." Outside the prison, journalist Lisa Torres from the San Francisco Chronicle was digging deeper. She had covered multiple stories about prison corruption in California, and Rico's case caught her attention. Through a leaked report, she discovered that Rico's prison transfer had been manually changed by someone at the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, CDCR. That meant this wasn't a simple mistake, it was intentional. Lisa tried to reach Rico through official channels, but every request was denied. Then one morning she received an anonymous envelope at her office. Inside was a handwritten note and a small photo. The note read, "He told the truth. Now the truth is killing him." The photo showed Rico in the infirmary, his face bruised, his eyes half open. Someone inside the prison wanted the world to see what was happening, but without exposing themselves. Lisa published an article titled, "The Witness Left to Die, Inside San Quentin's Broken Protection System." It went viral across social media, sparking national outrage. Hashtags like "Justice for Rico" and "San Quentin Silence" trended across Twitter and TikTok. Americans demanded answers, asking how the justice system could fail someone who risked everything to do the right thing. But while the world was talking, inside the prison, things were getting worse. The guards tightened security, but tension in the cell blocks grew. Word spread that the rat from LA was still breathing, and that didn't sit well with the men whose friends were serving life because of his testimony. Rico's cellmate returned to the unit, but this time he acted differently. Quiet, cold. He barely looked at Rico during roll call. One night when the lights went out, Rico whispered, "You were right. They came from me." The man didn't answer for a long time. Then, in a low, calm voice, he said, "They're not done." Rico froze. "What do you mean?"
But before the cellmate could respond, a voice came over the prison intercom calling for immediate lockdown. Doors slammed shut one by one, echoing through the tiers. Rico's hands started to shake. He could hear boots running down the hallway, keys rattling, orders being shouted. Then the lights went out again. For a few seconds, there was nothing but silence, total darkness, and then a scream. When the lights came back on, the guards rushed toward cell block C. Rico was gone. His bed was empty. A trail of blood led toward the showers. And in the corner, written on the wall with something dark and wet, were the words, "Some secrets don't stay silent." The next morning, chaos erupted inside San Quentin. Officers searched every corner, every cell, every shower stall, every maintenance tunnel. Rico was gone. No one knew how a man under strict watch had vanished overnight. The prison was locked down for 72 hours straight. No visits, no calls, no movement. The official report said, "Escape under investigation." But those who lived behind those bars knew better. Nobody escaped San Quentin, not without help. Outside, the story blew up across America. CNN, Fox News, ABC, every major network was covering it. Key witness missing inside maximum security prison. The headlines drew millions of views online. The country wanted answers. Was Rico dead? Was he smuggled out? Or was someone inside covering up a murder? Journalist Lisa Torres refused to drop the story. She drove to San Quentin trying to get a statement, but the prison spokesperson only repeated the same line. "We are conducting a full investigation. There is no further comment at this time." Lisa didn't buy it. She met with a retired guard who had worked in San Quentin for 15 years. Over coffee, he told her something chilling. "Things don't happen in there by accident," he said. "If someone like Rico disappears, it means the system wanted it that way." Lisa leaned in. "You mean the Department of Corrections?" The man hesitated, looking around the cafe before speaking again. "There are people on the inside who don't want certain truths getting out. Rico wasn't just a witness. He was about to testify in a federal investigation about corrupt prison contracts. That's the part nobody's talking about."
She froze. That piece of information changed everything. Rico hadn't just exposed gang members. He'd been preparing to expose the officials protecting them. Back inside San Quentin, whispers spread through the cell blocks. Some said Rico was taken to another facility under a new name. Others swore he'd been handled by the same guards who were paid to protect him. One inmate later claimed he saw something that night. Two officers wheeling a laundry cart down the hallway long after lights out. They said it was trash, he told an investigator years later, but that cart was leaking blood. No one could prove it. Weeks passed, then months. Eventually, Rico's name disappeared from the news cycle, replaced by new scandals, new crimes, new outrage. The investigation quietly closed. Official cause? Missing, presumed dead. But Lisa didn't stop digging. In 2022, nearly a year after Rico vanished, she received a plain manila envelope with no return address. Inside were two things: a worn-out prison ID badge and a handwritten note that said, "He never left. Check the files they buried." Attached to the note was a photo, an evidence log showing Rico's name crossed out, and beside it, a code that led to a closed section of the San Quentin morgue. Lisa took the evidence public again. The story reignited across American media, sparking fresh outrage about corruption and cover-ups inside U.S. prisons. Congressional hearings were called. The Department of Justice opened a new inquiry. But even after all that, Rico's body was never officially found. To this day, no one knows for sure what happened that night. Some say Rico made a deal and was given a new identity through witness protection. Others believe he was silenced for good, buried under paperwork and lies. One thing is certain: his disappearance exposed something much bigger than one man's story. It revealed how power, corruption, and silence can work together inside America's most dangerous prisons, where speaking the truth can cost you your life, and silence becomes the only way to survive. And deep within San Quentin's old concrete walls, guards and inmates still whisper about that night, about the screams, the blackout, and the message on the wall. Some secrets don't stay silent. If this story shocked you, wait until you hear what happened inside California's Pelican Bay, where another inmate's truth almost brought down an entire system. Subscribe, stay tuned, and don't miss the next real-life crime from America's hidden prisons.